They were sexist, they were racist, they were homophobes, and I sat there on the same desk as them and I didn't say anything. I was the office junior, I didn't feel it was my place. I just sat there and let it go by and tried to ignore it, and in that sense I was complicit in it. And then one day, The Clash, my favourite band, decided they were going to appear, announced that they were going to appear at the first big Rock Against Racism march and concert in London in 1978 in Hackney. And so me and my buddies, we went along and we marched through the streets of London in opposition to the National Front, a racist fascist party that was winning council seats all over the country. And we eventually arrived at this park in Hackney where the gig was to be. And in this park, there were 100,000 kids just like me. And as I went in there and saw all these kids, I realised that this was where my generation were going to make their stand on the issue of discrimination of all kinds, just as the previous generation had made their stand on the Vietnam War, and the generation before that had made their stand on nuclear weapons. This was what was going to define us as a generation. And it was a great afternoon of bands, a great afternoon of speeches, and when it finished and I started to leave the park, I went to the subway station. Trains were still running, track hadn't been ripped up. Went to my hometown, wasn't in rubble. People weren't running through the streets. I went round my mum, she put my dinner on the table, same as always. World hadn't changed. But by God, my perspective of the world had changed forever. To the extent that I really don't think I will be standing here tonight talking to you, were it for the events of that afternoon and evening in London. And when I went back to work on Monday morning, well, I knew then that actually I was not alone. And why I was different from these geezers with their racism and their sexism and their homophobia, how I was going to be different from them. And I've tried ever since then to make a stand against those kind of people, to stand up for what I believe in. And that was something very, very powerful that I got from that event. Very powerful. But the crucial thing from that afternoon was it was not The Clash who actually changed my perspective of the world. Singer-songwriters, by the way, can't change the world, and it's probably just as well. Who would want to live in James Blunt's world anyway? Unless you were beautiful. And even then you'd probably get sick of it after a couple of days, with him, whining away there, taking his shirt off, parking his tank and getting on. No. Singer-songwriters can't change the world. The Clash did a great job that day. They brought us there together. They brought us into that place. They sang the songs we wanted to hear. They helped us to give voice to the feelings that we had. And it was very, very empowering. The speeches were great. The speeches were really powerful. But ultimately, what changed my perspective of the world was being in that audience. And that's the crucial thing you have to understand. It's the responsibility of the audience to change the world. That is how it works. You can't change the world by buying records and going to gigs, especially not Billy Bragg gigs. It really does mean that it really, really is about, it's important we come together. It's important that we come together to feel we're not alone, as I did that day, to sing these songs together, to laugh and to cheer and to get angry about these things together. But ultimately what matters is what we do when we go from this place. And that's the crucial thing. That's going to be important in the months ahead. And I've been doing this for 25 years. It's a bloody long time, And I still am inspired to carry on writing and to carry on performing and to carry on taking part. And what I'm inspired by is you guys. And that faith that I have in you and your ability to change the world, to make the world a better place. And that's really, really important to me, because just like you, I am prone to that terrible, terrible thing that is the enemy of all of us who want to make a better world. I'm not talking about capitalism or conservatism or racism. I'm talking about cynicism. We all feel it. We all look at politicians on our TVs, even those ones that are supposed to be on our side, and we think, for Christ's sake, what are these people doing? What are these people up to? Or we feel, I can't do this anymore. I'm the only person who feels like this. We get the frustration when things don't turn out the way we want them. We all feel this. I feel it. Of course I feel it. I hope to get Blair elected. Of course I feel it. And how do I overcome it? How do I overcome it? How do I get through it? Well, I see between 300 and 700 people every other night in the dark here, and seeing and listening to you and hearing you cheer in the right place, and the things you tell me afterwards, and the stories that we share with one another is what inspires me to carry on doing this. And that's the most crucial thing, fighting our cynicism. It's easy for us to sit here together and talk about our enemies out there, the Republicans, the Conservatives, the fascists, the capitalists, all outside. But when our real enemy is cynicism, then all of us in this room have to be on guard all the time against that cynicism. I'm not talking about doubt. You know, doubt is really valuable to have doubts. Never believe anyone who says they have no doubts, especially if they're a fucking politician, let me tell you. No, never. And skepticism is useful. Skepticism is useful. I'm talking about the cynicism that comes when someone has given up and they want you to give up as well. And they're pouring piss on everything that you're trying to do. But cynics have all the answers and they're all fucking bad. Cynics, you know, they've solved every problem. It's always negative. They no longer trust their neighbours. They no longer trust their community. They no longer trust humanity. And that is the danger that we all face if we give in to cynicism. It destroys the soul. Ultimately, it stops us from making that really important contribution that every single one of us can make to making the world a better place. So I want to thank you for inspiring me to carry on. I want to sing this song dedicated to you because I wrote it about you. It's called I Keep Faith.